Welcome to my Forever Bank Personal Stories with Virginia National Bank. My name is Sherry Taylor. I am spokesperson for Virginia National Bank. And with me today, Megan Kreider. Megan is the president of Educational Programs and this amazing Finance, Career, and Leadership Academy that we'll talk about towards the end of the podcast. But Megan, we're sending our kids back to school right now. It's a big deal. So let's talk spending while you're in college and why it's so different than just everyday spending.
Well, I think because money in college can just feel overwhelming. I mean, you got everything so new happening to you. But you don't have to be perfect with your money to be successful. You need a plan. Okay, some awareness and just a few practical habits that help your money last longer while you're in school. One reason why it is because you usually don't have money coming in on a regular basis while you're in college.
It's like you save up, maybe you save up your money. This is what we told our son. He worked for a year before he went to college.
Right.
And so we said, okay.
The gap year. Right?
Yeah, the gap year. And I said, okay, that's fine. We can take the gap year, but you're going to work and you're going to save all of that money, most of it, for your spending while you're at school.
Right.
And so we talked about it. We set up a plan and, we talked about monthly budget and things like that.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And these are things that I feel like just with my son, and that was hard enough. Like it was still very tight. Even though we went through the plan, it was still very tight. And there were times where he had to say, well,
that's a good
can I
thing.
use the credit card or whatever it is, for this or that?
Well, he had that lump of money that he had made over his summer vacation.
Yes.
And that was a lump that was at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
And the hard thing for your kids in school to do is just realize what they have to do is to make that money untouchable. Basically, I need to spread that over, let's say that you're in school for 9 months. It has to last you for 9 months.
Right.
So you divide that money by 9 and say, I can't touch anything over what 1/9 of that money is per month. Not thinking that, I have that in the background. I can just borrow a little from, October to get me through September. No.
Yes. And that becomes a slippery slope.
Right.
And then you're borrowing from every month. And then by the end of the year, you have no money.
You have 2 months at the end of the year that you don't have any money for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I think probably there are a lot of things you don't think about that you're going to need. I mean, this might be your first time living on your own.
Right.
So the things that you had at home that you just take for granted, you don't think about.
Right.
And we probably didn't think about it either, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that is so military brought up and anal retentive about those things that, yes, I had everything like stacked up, but most people do not.
Correct.
So the first thing I think before we think about where your money is going to go is make a list of where your money is coming from first.
Oh.
So first of all, what funds do you have? So you have to look at and plot out and think about, okay, I have the 3 months from school. Okay, from working the vacation, I guess, for school, okay? Mm-hmm. And then you sit there and go, if you're getting some money, are you getting an allowance from your parents? And how is that coming to you?
Right.
If they say they're going to give you, a lump sum in the beginning of the semester and in the second semester, then you write that out. Here's where the funds are coming from. If you've got student aid coming, usually that comes at the beginning of the semester also, and it has to last you through the entire semester. So sit down and look at where all that income is coming from first. And some people have, like I did, work-study programs. So you had a part-time job with it. So plot out, write down when it's coming in and how much it is for your income, okay?
Okay.
And then start looking at where it has to go out for. So if you're let's not do first year. Let's do second, third, and fourth year when you're living off campus, okay? Well, right, first and foremost, that biggest chunk that out of anybody's, even a grown adult with kids and things like that, the biggest thing that comes out is usually your rent or, your mortgage. So you need to plot out every month, this is what has to keep a roof over my head, right? Then you think about, what are those needs, the necessities you need? Okay, roof over your head first, and food. Food should be groceries.
Not necessarily eating out.
Yeah. Right. If you've got a large enough income coming in and you can afford that, then you just write down everything that you think you're going to plot out for that. Now, mind you, if you don't, which most kids and most people don't have, you look at groceries, okay? And then you look at, you got to remember things like the toiletries, okay, shampoo, deodorant, toothpaste, a toothbrush,
Those are things that usually just show up at your house when you're home.
Well, because your mom got
'Cause your
them
parents
for it.
do that for you,
Yeah,
yes.
it's always been there. It always will be.
Right.
Well, no, you have to consider the fact that you do that. And mind you, yes, you do have to replace your toothbrush every once in a while.
Buy two.
Yeah, buy two, one for each semester. Yeah, the things just write down all the things you use on a daily basis. Okay, like your perfume, if you're going to do it. You can do without it, but if you want it, you better count it in as what you think is a necessity to budget for it. You got your subscriptions that you've got, your online subscriptions for streaming, for gaming, and to me, those just you write them down to find out what you do, because you're going to probably have to eliminate some of those to be able to stay within your budget.
Yes.
That income you've got over there, you're lucky if you come out with the fact that you hope to come out with is all that money you have coming in ends up being more than what you think you're going to have going out. And you're also going to want to put in there an emergency fund of what happens if, a backup, a buffer for yourself. Always put that in there. And not use mommy and daddy or a credit card as a buffer. This would be the adult thing to do.
And I know there was one thing that we had to think about too, is usually if you do have a dining hall voucher,
right,
that's usually going to get you 15 meals a week, or depending on which one you signed up for,
which
one you get.
Yeah,
that's right. So say you get the 15, and then if you do the math there and you think 15 meals. I eat more than 15 times a week, right? I mean, that's 3. You still have weekends. So you have to think about, right? It's 3 a day, 3 meals a day.
Times 7.
Yeah, times 7. Yeah. So that's more than 15. But you think, 15 meals a week. Oh, that's enough.
Well, yeah.
It's not going to be enough. You're going to have to
figure out how you're going to support that. Yeah.
Yes.
It depends on what meal plan you have. And if you're living on campus.
Right.
Now, meal plan only goes for UVA required for your freshman year.
Yeah. If you're on campus.
If you're on campus. Mm-hmm. And for your when you look at upperclassmen, it's hard to get to live on campus.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you're living off of campus, and then it becomes the idea. It's easier for you just to use your little card and walk into the dining hall and not worry about food. But when you're living off campus, then you actually have to think about buying groceries and preparing your own meals. And I don't even want to go into the health thing.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Eating a healthy diet. And yes, you can eat a healthy diet for cheaper than eating frozen meals all the time. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
Right.
But it's a lot cheaper to go to the grocery store and buy your food there than it is to order off of food service, the delivery service and fast food. So your need is that you need to eat, and you budget it for the healthiest you possibly can at the lowest cost, which means going to the grocery stores. Anything above that is a want. And you can budget that in, but that's extra.
You have to have money for it.
You have to have money for that,
Yeah.
right. And there's sometimes that you forget things that you're going to need as part of going to school, like all those extra fees that you might forget about that the schools charge you.
Ooh, like what?
There are activity fees and things like that.
Yeah, if you want to be in a club,
right,
or you're in a sports,
And actually, they charge that part of the tuition type of thing. But also then just think about the books that you need. And somehow, the books have gotten more expensive for online books you don't even get to keep anymore.
I know, isn't that crazy?
I know that you can't go back and, write in them or anything. You can.
Or resell them.
Yeah. They don't even make them available nowadays for some courses as we've been going on. But one of the things I know that people tend to forget about having to budget for is that when you're away at college, okay, is that they often forget about travel of getting to and from home to school for Thanksgiving.
Right.
And the food they're going to eat on that and the gasoline for that. They're not thinking about
or
that.
the flight.
Or the flight, if
Could
they're
be
at
a
the
flight,
flight to California to go back home. That if that's coming out of your budget, not your parents' budget, you have to consider that too to be able to get home. There were times when I was in school where I didn't go home for Thanksgiving.
Wow, because you didn't have the money to get home?
Because I didn't have the money.
Oh, boy.
And, and then I got smart when I figured out that I couldn't get the train ride from New York to back down to D.C. I figured out, hey, there's a way to actually ride share. Mind you, we posted it on a bulletin board, with paper and a pen.
Was that in the 1900s?
Yeah, it was in the 1900s.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it was back in the 1970s. So yeah, and then and you did a ride share to be able to go where you shared gas, and I didn't have to have the car, and then work it out. But that took a lot more effort. So yes, managing money does take effort, but no one's going to take care of it better than you.
Good point. Yeah.
That's just the case here.
So, okay, that's one way that students, if you're in college, getting ready to go to college, that's one way you can stretch your money. What are some other ideas for stretching money?
If you've never done a budget, you have to do a budget because you have to know to where your money's going to go, and you have to pace yourself for it. The other thing too is to actually make yourself familiar with the financial aid department at your university. I'm just speaking last night to a young woman who heads up a group in the financial aid department. 2 people reporting to her, and she has 500 students they're responsible for.
Whoa.
Those 3 people to help them handle their financial aid packets, and basically that's the person they go to if they're having trouble with like figuring out what the heck, how am I make my rent this month,
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so there is on staff at every university that could help you talk through some of this. The thing is, you have to listen when people tell you. When people tell you you need a budget, you really do need to budget. It's not like you're in second grade or 7 years old anymore, where that little magic card your parent has, can buy you anything because, you have no concept of the fact that there's money. Somebody had to work for that money to get it.
Yes.
You are now working for that money. You worked when you applied the effort for the financial aid. You had to go through that effort to do it. And upon graduation, you are going to have to work to pay that money back.
Yes, and there's a lot of money to pay back for a lot of people.
Yes.
I mean, so many people have $100,000, $150,000 worth of debt when they leave college.
I go into the local high schools here and to their personal finance classes and do a presentation on the cost of college and how, the return on investments on different degrees, so they're aware of that not all degrees are worth the money that you're investing in it.
Yes, very
And
true.
one of the questions I ask at the beginning of each one time I go and do a presentation is how many kids in that class can pay for college outright? Okay, how many of their parents or themselves have saved up or have the ability to go in and say, freshman year, I've got my 4 years paid for. Boom. In my lifetime doing this, going on 5 years, 6 years now, one.
Oh, wow.
One student.
Wow.
Okay, one student, and that was, and God bless him, it was because his father passed away and had an insurance policy and had left it for his education.
Wow. That's not the way you want that to happen.
No.
Yeah.
I applaud parents who are taking advantage of the education funds for their kids right off the front when they're birth. That is a wonderful thing to do.
Yes.
But there comes a time when an 18-year-old has to realize that they are an adult and it's their responsibility. It's their educations. They need to make the wise decisions. And the government makes it very easy for them to borrow the money. It's not so easy to pay it back.
Yes.
And they need to think about the fact that upon graduation, you are responsible from day one to pay back those unsubsidized federal student loans.
Yeah. And it seems college is a really big time for students, young people to be just kind of thrown into adulthood. And so this is why it's so much more important, I think, to have a plan.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're going to be making so many decisions you've never made before.
All on your own, yes.
All on your own without you, because your parents aren't always going to be there. They're not always just going to be a phone call away or a text away. You're going to have to make decisions.
Right.
And that's a lot. And the more you can have written down and the more you can have structure and the more you can have, like with your finances, getting them in order.
Right.
And kind of having a plan.
You want to do it when you want to, ideally you want to do to start thinking about your finances and all this and how you got budgeting, all this stuff before you commit to a college.
Absolutely.
Okay?
That's ideal.
Before you sign on the line for those loans.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But the idea too is once you've done that and hopefully you've done it, thought through what the degree is that you want to get, and you're doing it not as an emotional, thing, but a logical with a little bit of emotion, the fact of that you got to like what you want to think you're going to do for the rest of your life, but not getting yourself into $100,000 into debt for something because you're passionate. And I can talk about this. I have a theater degree. My first degree is a theater degree.
Yeah.
Now, I was lucky that I actually made a living at what I did, but of my graduating class, I was it.
Yeah.
And I went to a school in New York that was highly competitive for theater, okay? So ideally, if you want to be an actor, you don't need a degree, right?
Right.
Don't need
Right.
it. Okay. So why invest that money in a theater degree? If you're going to go to school, get a degree, do some research that the return on investment for is that you might actually be able to pay off your student loans when you graduate.
Right. Right.
Okay. There's a wonderful website out there that can help you look at that, a return on investment of where your college is and what degree you have.
Okay.
Out there.
So they can just Google it.
Yeah, you can just Google it. And as I say, I do a presentation on that type of thing for the high schools around here. Budgeting, and that's not even for anybody just in college. It's the fact is it's your money. Okay, nobody cares about your money more than you do.
Yeah, or should.
Or should.
Yeah.
Or should, right? So that's probably the most adult thing you're going to be doing. That is to actually manage it logically, because ultimately you cannot run away from your student loan debt.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't run away from debt in general. I mean,
you can declare bankruptcy, but that's going to follow you for the rest of your life.
that's right. So even
Okay.
if you do that, that's still on you.
That's still on- that's
it's
on
going
you
to prevent
follow-
you from doing things that you want to do in the future.
You won't be able to get a home
Yeah.
if you declare bankruptcy. But even when you declare bankruptcy, that does not forgive your student loans.
Right. Yeah. So you still have those.
You still have those.
Yes. So it's really important, and to kind of take that stress off of you too. I think, so many people are so stressed out over finances.
Yes.
Because they're not taking care of them the way they should. They don't know, and a lot of people just don't know any better. And then things start piling up, and it gets harder. So this takes a lot of stress off of you. College is stressful enough.
Right. It's the one thing you can really have control over.
Yes.
And the fact is, it takes the stress off when you make that first step. I mean,
Yes.
you don't have to start big. I mean, you can just start take out, a sheet of paper or one of your apps if you want to use your note app type of thing, and just figure out how much money do I have available each month. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
And based on what you did at the beginning, you looked at where all that income was and you spread it out over the months that you need to have paid off. Okay? What are my fixed expenses, okay, that must be paid, like your rent? That's just for anybody in the world. What flexible spending categories means the most overspend most often? So if my flexible spending category is my gaming, maybe that should be the one thing you do that next month and try to see that. I'm not going to do that, or cut it down to the bare minimum type of thing. Or if it's ordering out, say, okay, I can only order out once a week. I've obviously been doing it 5 times a week. That it's not good.
Yes.
So, and what is one upcoming expense I need to start planning for now? Something that's coming out. Like if you want to go home at Christmas and you haven't thought about the fact that you need to book that flight, where am I going to take that money away from? I can either generate more money by getting a part-time job, babysitting or something like that, if you can do that while you're taking these classes. I mean, I was very creative when I was in school. I worked in the costume department sewing, and so that was for my first degree, that's one way I made my money.
Right.
But also I found out that some of my professors, had little kids and stuff like that. So they liked me, and it was like, well, if you need a babysitter, then that would give me extra money. So I used that money to take the train into New York City and go see a show. But
Right.
that was definitely a want, not a need.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the same thing. You just think that type of thing through.
Megan, what's the main takeaway that you want people to hear?
Well, I guess the fact is that managing money in college is not about saying no to everything. It's about making sure your money goes where you need it to go first and where you want it to go second. Yeah, stretching your money, like I said, starts with awareness. Planning your spending for the year gives you breathing room, and the habits students build you can help you make a better financial future for you.
Megan, thank you so much. This has been some really, really good information. If you are headed to school or even considering it in the next couple of years, go back and listen to this a couple of times.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Budget.
Tell me about the Finance, Career, and Leadership Academy that Virginia National Bank has, just real quick, about how people can learn more about that.
The Finance, Career, and Leadership Academy, you can find out more information by going to our website, and it's actually listed on the left-hand side of it. Click on it to learn more about it. But it's for high school seniors and juniors. It's an academy that teaches intensive personal finance and career preparedness for the financial world. We take up to 10 kids every spring. It goes from January to June. It's in the evenings. As I said, it's an intensified course on finance. It builds on what you've learned or been exposed to in high school. And from that class, the 10 kids we take, we will take up to 4 students in the fall to come into our college program, which is we pay for their entire degree. They do their courses here at the bank. We have an arrangement set up with a college up in Maine, and then you get a career with Virginia National Bank.
If you make it into this and you make it to the college portion of it,
Yeah.
you get your college paid for
Yes.
for that degree.
At the same time, you're getting full benefits and a salary.
Oh my gosh!
So we have 2
So you're getting paid to go to school.
Yes, you're getting paid to go. We have 2 students coming in. They will begin in for the first 4 to 6 months. All they do under my tutelage, my sponsorship, mentorship, is they take online courses that we've arranged with this college up in Maine to get their business degree in banking, business administration and banking. And then at that point, they finish their first about almost 2 years of courses. They end up doing a special project with our CEO, and then they do rotations through our departments, and we get placed in a job. And then if they want to, they don't have to, but if they want to, they can continue to get their full degree while they're doing their job. They're just as long as they're maintaining and doing a good job with their job and maintaining the grade point average that we require them to maintain, they get to continue to go on for their full degree.
And you'll pay for it.
And then we pay for it on title. And they get full benefits and everything like that.
So if you want to know more about that, vnb.com/FCLA is where you can go on our website, vnb.com. Megan Kreider. And Megan, you are the president of educational programs here at Virginia National Bank. You're in charge of the FCLA program. Thank you so much. This has been really good information.
You're welcome.